Hey, everybody.
Good evening.
We have arrived only
15 minutes late.
15 minutes late. Woo-hoo.
Sorry, guys. The computer decided to shut down.
It decided to do an update just as about to go live. So I apologize. We are 15 minutes late. But you know what? They say...
late to the party?
No.
It's better than not.
Be there or be square.
Sure.
We're here, so we're not square. All right, so welcome to the channel, everybody. Welcome to our live stream. We're going to get into some cool discussions tonight. Talk about things. How are things with you, Ashley?
They're good. It was a good day today.
I went to a birthday party.
We did, for 4 hours.
Yeah. How are you doing tonight? How's everybody working on their preps? What have you been working on? Are you ready for summer? This is what happens when I'm at 15 minutes late. Then the normal people aren't the first ones to show up.
We throw the normal people off, yeah.
So anyway, sorry guys, if you're just coming in now, we were having some serious technical difficulties and I wanted to smash my computer. But that cost money, so I decided not to do it.
It decided, hey, let's shut down just a few minutes before we got everything ready. So
all right, so we have Baby Doc, we have
everybody's
TJF,
coming in.
We have Annie, hello from Liberty Hill, Texas. Patty says we're 5 by 5. Hello, Phil. We have Cav Doc, Decoy. We're doing well, Phil. How are you tonight? How are things in Flintville? Mark from Connecticut, MDMD, hello from Florida. Hello, Laura from Minnesota. Sue from Canada.
Everybody's coming in.
Muskoka also from Ontario. Teresa from Springfield. Ruth from Iowa. I like to see where everybody's at, by the way.
Yeah, it's really neat to see.
Squeaky Melissa. You need some oil, Squeaky Melissa, from New Jersey. Nicola Tesla. Hey, yeah.
Hola.
Carl from Spokane.
Hey, Alex.
Georgianne Thornton. Hello, Georgianne. How are you? Hawk's Eye from the West Coast.
Hi,
Richard from New York. Hello, Richard. Denise from Minnesota. Journey from Tennessee. Brian, hello, sir. Good evening to you too, sir. Vesta, hello. Our really good friend Alex Velez. Our good friend Marsoc Raider, greetings. Cold War Pepper, welcome. Glad you're here. A lot of channels having problems tonight.
Oh, yeah, really?
Sounds about right.
Not a day for internet, I suppose.
Jay says, how are you?
We're good. Me, in particular?
Just in general.
We're good.
Stubbsy from UK. Scott, Karen from, and then Clutch from North Carolina, and lots of people coming in, which I can't keep up. All right, beautiful. Michael has the first question tonight. How can you get one of those T-shirts? I don't know, Michael.
Like his shirt? Is that what you're referring to?
We're not. We I don't know. We don't really have stuff like this for sale.
No.
I made these myself.
He did.
I only have just a few, so I'm not giving you the shirt off my back. I don't know, Michael. I guess I could probably look at seeing what it costs to start making them and stuff, but I don't have time.
Yeah.
It takes a while.
We always could have the kids weed, though, too.
Yeah,
I don't know. You could always email us, and we could see if that's a doable. I'm sorry. I'm yelling. Somebody's got to hear me.
There's also the possibility, I know you can go to these different companies that make T-shirts and just custom make them and resell them.
Yeah.
I can check out that.
Yeah.
But we got our first super chat.
Oh, awesome.
From Just Don't for $4.99. Hold on, ready?
It.
We have... So Shalom from Fort Campbell. Shalom to you too. Bless your family. Thank you very much for $4.99. We always appreciate the super chats. Always helps us keep up with computers who don't want to work nicely for us tonight.
Thanks, guys. That was really sweet.
All right, so a lot of emergency action messages going on tonight too, but I don't really see anything major. Janet Flores is from Pueblo, Colorado.
Oh, really? I spent a long time out there.
Yeah. Southeast Florida, Montana, people coming in. This is beautiful.
Awesome. We have a helper, but she's currently away doing laundry. She'll be back.
Del Fargas said we should set up an auction for a game-worn jersey. In other words, I could sell one of the used ones off my back.
You don't want one of those. The one.
Thanks, Ash. Love you too.
No, like the one you fell in the mud.
Knight who says, "Nee, I just got here. What's the intended topic?" We're actually going to be going through just
some questions.
Yeah, whatever you do on it for Q&A today. I probably should put that for Q&A. Nothing really specific. We're going to talk a little bit about the newsletter. So I'll go ahead and come across real quick, everybody. Did everybody get the newsletter today?
I did.
You did?
I did. I'm sorry.
Was it really on your mail?
I don't know. I didn't check. No, I was his test subject, so I have gotten several of his emails. So I did get one. I don't know if I got one this morning.
Yeah. So anyway, we set out the new newsletter, and I've had a lot of people who are a lot of experts in their field said, "Oh, we would love to contribute."
Oh, okay.
So we'll definitely be taking articles for that. I just saw a question. Let's see. Could you discuss a little about Australia from Fred? How would we fare in an outbreak of wider war? I don't know, Fred. I would actually have to ask you that. I guess I'm assuming you're in Australia. The United States has been putting more boots on the ground per se in Australia since all this stuff's been brewing in the Pacific. And unfortunately, that comes in the face of China. China wanted to rent some land out there for an airfield, and we thought Australia was going to go for it.
Oh, really?
Then the last minute they said nope. Instead, we're actually going to have more American nuclear forces on Australian soil.
Okay.
The United States and Australia has been
hand in hand
for a long time. Yeah, very good thing. So if we end up going to war, more than likely Australia will be in it too. That's pretty much the only thing I can really go into that.
Because they have cool kangaroos too.
That's all they have is cool kangaroos. All right. Would you say that the powers that are waging a slow grind to wear everyone out in order for them to accept the most drastic resolutions? Oh, no doubt.
Oh, yeah.
I have zero doubt that's what's happening. I truly believe that a lot of things are heading in the direction of being orchestrated. And I'm not going to go as far as saying who's doing the orchestrating. There's lots of culprits.
There are.
I'm sure you have your own input as far as who you might think the culprits are. But the things are going slowly. And mainstream media, at the very least in the United States, is right on board with basically putting things out nice and slow. Hey, have you thought about this happening? Mm-hmm. Even though we've been talking about it for years, they'll say, oh, have you thought about this? To try to get you to get in the feeling of it. So that way when the things do happen, you're not so caught off guard.
Yeah, not so shell-shocked.
But people are very quick to turn over their freedoms and liberties to allow more security from the United States government, which does not do a good job of providing security, unfortunately.
It's a double whammy.
Let's see. From Engra, what's happened? I do know the chatter has increased back up as far as the emergency action messages on our nuclear forces. But I have not seen anything yet as far as what's actually happening. We have seen also a drastic increase. I've only got this confirmed through one place, but it's a very reputable place, that Russian forces are amassing along the border of Poland, right along the strait, heading over to their other territory, which right now I can't think of the name of it. But there could be stuff heading up there as well. Any thought on the red heifer sacrifice, Clutch? I don't have any thoughts on that specifically, which more of a religion thing, but not really getting into. Jennifer, love the newsletter. Thank you, Jennifer.
Hey, glad you guys like it.
I got a lot of feedback, by the way, which I'm always about constructive criticism and feedback that will make things better. One of the biggest ones I saw, and I'm going to ask you who read the newsletter, somebody said, could I make the font a little bit smaller?
Oh, really?
And I actually had it really big, and I said, I need to bring it down some, and I did bring it down some, but when I even put it out, I was even wondering if I put it out small enough.
Really?
Yeah.
Small enough?
Yeah, because it really takes up a lot of space. It's like really big font.
Oh, but it's easier to read.
Yeah, but you can always, if you're on your phone, you can always, spread your fingers apart,
it's
too.
Too difficult, man. No,
we have a super sticker from our friend Georgiana Thornton.
Hi, Georgiana. Good to hear from you.
Thank you. It is a fox with a heart.
Aw.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Corgi?
Oh, it might be a corgi.
I think it's a corgi.
Okay.
I'm going to guess it's a corgi, Georgiana.
Corgis and foxes.
We're going to go with it.
They're all the same family. Let's see. What else do we have?
Lots
it
of people
says,
said they got
Ghost
the newsletter.
Prepper on YouTube started a shirt printing business. I can give you his email. Yeah, please do that. I'd appreciate that. We have a vinyl cutter. And I cut this vinyl a long time ago and pressed it in the shirts. Yeah. And I think I have 3 of these.
Yeah, I think you do. I think you have 2 green and a gray.
2 green and a gray, exactly.
Yeah.
And I like vinyl cutting. I'm just so busy with everything else. I don't have time to go through and...
Yeah, it's like a step process, and so it's a little bit more time-consuming than I think we want to do with it. But
And we have a nice flat clamshell press. Naomi just ran by. Dawn says, hello, everyone. Hey, Doc and Ashley, your hair is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I have naturally...
She was talking to me.
Oh, was she? Oh, you got a haircut, so that's why. No, I have naturally curly hair. I just don't do that much. But we had a party to go to, so I figured I'd be pretty and go with it.
So, Knight, who says, Nee, your wife is a test subject.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Says, was there a mad scientist lab coat and cool handlebar mustache involved? I do have my lab coat still.
You do, yeah.
I don't know where it's at. Do you?
It's in some tub.
Naomi.
Hi, everyone.
So Naomi was working on some stuff, but now she's back. So Naomi, if you have any questions, and Naomi, go ahead and throw your name up there when you have a chance. But this is the knowledge realm. I didn't think about that for a second. The knowledge realm.
Which one?
So if you have any questions, if you put it through the knowledge realm first, that'd be best. She may not be logged on quite yet. From RBM, what makes now the crap hit the fan moment? I really believe that crap hitting the fan is we're on the precipice of things collapsing. I believe we're going to see a culmination of going into war. I think probably, most likely, we're going to have some kind of black swan event or false flag event that's going to pull us into it. Just think of like Pearl Harbor, for example. I think that's probably what's going to happen. And it's going to pull us into war. And I think we're going to find the rates of people joining the military are going to drastically increase because people glue to mainstream media and believe it like it's the truth.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And I believe because of that, we're going to have attacks on our soil. At the very least, we're going to have cyber attacks. I think they're coming. And then we're going to have lots of people waking up in the United States saying, oh, we're happy to help attack America. Okay, and I think crap hitting the fan is going to be right at that moment. It literally could happen very soon. That's where I think we're at anyway. All right, so Rhonda got the newsletter. Excellent. From Michael, what do you do with a dead body if that occasion comes up?
Oh, my word.
Why? That's a very valid question.
No, it is.
What are we talking about for dead bodies?
Yeah.
What?
What do we like?
No, he just asking what do we do with a dead body. I mean,
Oh, yeah, so let me tell you about...
No.
No, let me tell you about this big old thing called the nasty sack of disease called the human body. We are nasty. We are nasty animals. We have stuff in our digestive system that will literally taint stuff. It's bad stuff.
Yeah, it smells.
If you have a dead body and you're not in the position to do like any type of embalming, you need to bury that body and actually bury it pretty quickly too. And I know a lot of times you can get away with burying bodies in a shallow grave. I can neither confirm or deny my ex passed as a serial killer. But if you can go deeper below the frost line, to be even better. But it's got to be done quick, in a matter of a day or two. It's going to start stinking really fast. And the stinking will then coincide with disease. It really does work that way. You'll find a lot of dead bodies and disease go hand in hand. So if that happens, you're not going to have much of a choice. You're going to have to bury that body.
Dig and dig.
Yeah.
And then bury it.
Which, we are talking about crap as the fan, by the way, because if you try to do that now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a hamster.
Yeah.
Oh, there's no water.
Oh, he has a little bit on there.
Okay. Our kids have a hamster over there and he's nibbling away at stuff.
What happened to Manhattan?
I'm not there yet.
Somebody asked what happened about Manhattan.
Somebody
asked what martial arts you teach.
I teach primarily Taekwondo and Krav Maga. To a lot of the kids, it's, I don't know, probably 80% Taekwondo, I'm guessing, and about 20% Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Then we actually have special classes for adults for Krav Maga, as well as weapons and stuff, too. I like to do a lot of weapons training. And then also, me and a few others, owners and managers, have a team that we actually teach self-defense, like even corporate self-defense. And so this weekend, we actually did some corporate self-defense training, especially in Krav Maga.
Yeah.
Which Krav Maga is, in my opinion, is the real martial arts you're going to deal with when it comes to people attacking you. There's so many different things you can do with it. And there's other martial arts that do very well. I'll tell you right now, if you find somebody who's a black belt in Taekwondo and you're not skilled in any type of fighting, they'll kick your butt. It's true. Even though there's a lot of sports, you're talking about sports martial arts, there's lots of them. And people think that, Taekwondo is all sports. Well, so is like karate now. And so is, a whole bunch of them are all into sports instead of actually really trying to hit or kick. But I'll be honest with you, I get kicked in the head sometimes, and sometimes the kick comes up right underneath my helmet. And
then pops his jaw, and it's
really
pain.
bad.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, let's see.
Are we all black belts?
I am.
He's a black belt. Our oldest son is a black.
She just got a black belt.
Yeah.
That's
and
exciting.
Then the rest of us were working on it.
Yeah, so we have a whole mess of kids, and all of them except for the little babies are in martial arts, and we range everywhere from not even the very beginning, but all the way up to black belt.
I restarted mine because I had forgotten so much because it's been a while. So I started from the beginning again because I couldn't remember anything. So
Judy, you have such a fantastic question. It says, I'm feeling worn out. How do I get my prepping motivation back? Isn't that funny? That says current events are not scary enough. That's such a hard thing with the prepping community is they see the scary events. And unfortunately, sometimes I even have to make the titles kind of scary looking just to get people motivated to act on it. I wish that preppers overall just had a self-intrinsic motivation. It's for us, and this is what I wish everybody was, it's a lifestyle. We always prep. We always look for sales. We always look for things that we can add to our stockpiles. We always look for
The deals.
deals, new ways of doing things. And then we always practice our stuff too.
And then we have fun.
Yeah, I love practicing stuff. So like this summer, we're planning a whole bunch of different types of camping trips, all the way from just doing primitive camping to backpacking to testing out a lot of new gear and stuff, which I'm going to be bringing a lot of people with us for these videos, which is going to be fun.
We have a lot of questions.
All right, a lot of questions. Ready for the first question?
No, we have a lot of questions, but someone really wants to know, what about the election?
Yeah. George has asked many times. What about the election?
What about the election?
What do you want to know? We don't have any answer.
Georgiana said her son is going to be stationed at Fort Carson. I was stationed at Fort Carson.
That is like one of my favorite bases.
It's fantastic.
It is.
It
They
has
have
a
an
lot.
amazing market.
Great base. All right. What was the question, Amy?
George
About the
wants to
election.
know about the election.
Oh, the election. All right. So
Or will there be an election, he keeps asking.
yeah,
Or
it's really
to the
funny.
George.
That seems to be the big question among the prepper circles is, will there be an election? And I will tell you that a president, I'm just going to use that general term, does not have any authority to stop the election from happening. It can only happen by an act of Congress. So let's say we actually put into war and we're actually getting ready to fight World War III, a major attack on the U.S. soil. Unless Congress stops it, a president cannot do it. It's illegal. There's no executive order that can make it happen. If that is basically what tries to happen, that literally may be what's going to lead to a major uprising in the United States if that does happen. And honestly, I think that the powers to be, the ones who are trying to control everything, I think they know that. Because somebody said that we see a very gradual transition into crap hitting the fan. But it comes down to this. I think they know that they have to be very careful and gradually do some things, gradually take freedoms away, gradually push the public, gradually push all these things in their agenda, because they know that this is a ridiculously heavily armed country. And there's a lot of people who are willing to fight for our freedoms in the Constitution, which a lot of us swore to do that. And I think they know that if they do have one major catastrophic event without having the public on their side,
Yeah.
it can happen. So I'm not saying necessarily people like Biden may not try to make it happen, but I'll tell you right now, that would be the act that would fail and would cause a major problem in this country.
Has it ever happened, a suspended election?
I don't know. That's a great question. Has there ever been a suspension of election? I don't know.
I don't know that either.
Not that I know of. And I love studying U.S. history. I love studying all the presidents and such. I don't know of any cases where they suspended an election. I know of numerous cases there's been martial law. I mean, countless.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
been so many cases of martial law. And I don't know of any of those cases, because I read up on a lot of them, where there was any suspension of elections. But again, it has to be an act of Congress for that to happen. Now, just like we've seen in the past, I'm not saying there isn't going to be some major problems and violence as we get up toward the elections,
Yeah.
but that's to sway the public and not necessarily make the election go in
The
the
thing
first
is
place.
we don't know who's going to win. Nobody knows, because things didn't turn out the way everybody predicted last time too. So I honestly, who knows? Who knows? Nobody has a magic 8-ball and can tell what's going on,
I have a
because
magic 8-ball. Can we ask it?
yeah.
I'll ask it. I'll get back to you.
So Wow from Portugal, welcome.
Hey.
I've been to Portugal many times. Beautiful
Good
country and
evening.
people too, by the way.
I have lots of
Keto for inflammation issue from a spike protein. Yeah, it very well could be, Sven. I will tell you that there are times in the past where I've gone off keto, and while you're off keto, you're like, this is
Excuse me. I'm sorry.
this is great. I get to enjoy pizza and all these sushi and these delicious things. But I'm telling you, my inflammation just skyrockets. And then literally so much so that the day I go back on keto again, even though it still covers my system,
Feels so
especially-
much better.
Yeah, it's so much
Yeah.
better. There's such a huge thing when it comes to that.
Can you ever answer this?
No.
Dan said, is junk silver a good thing to collect, or should I concentrate on buying pure silver, for example, 1 ounce bars? I would go for both. Here's the situation that we have right now. Hold on, I have a message.
We also have a super chat.
Oh, do we? Okay.
Well, we have 2.
I'll get
Yeah.
there in a second. We have, I want to say this right now, guys. We have a really good moderator who we love very much.
It's me. Okay.
And if you see a person coming up named Kim's Mother Cluckers, you know,
All right. So if you
That's
see,
Kim's
I don't
Cluckers.
see her.
Because was
Okay, we'll
Facebook
look.
blocked her?
Yeah, they
Stinking Facebook.
not Facebook.
Oh yeah, YouTube did. Yeah.
I don't see it.
Okay. Anyway.
If we see it, we'll get you, Kim.
Okay, so let me put this back up here again. So, right now you're in a great position to collect junk silver. And by the way, it's funny, I made a video on junk silver, and some guy got so mad, he goes, "It's called constitutional silver." I'm sorry that you like to call it that by that name, and I'm not saying that's the wrong name, but
we
a lot of
have-
people call it junk silver.
We have short names for things. I mean,
So,
need
junk
to
silver.
get technical.
Junk silver is fantastic. There's problems with it. There's a big chunk of the population that doesn't realize that most of our silver coins, I say silver like as in color, 1964 or older are actually mostly silver. Not all of them, by the way, but most of them are. And some people don't realize that. So the big problem with using junk silver or constitutional silver is now it's easy to collect. And I mentioned before, my favorite thing to do, I love this, by the way, is go to the nearby casino and use the change machine because I think what happens is people get desperate and take their coin collections in there and dump it. And I will get coins out, and I would say probably one out of 10 coins are junk
He's
silver.
like a kid in a
What's junk
candy
silver?
store.
Did you explain what junk silver is?
Okay. All right. So our modern coins are the ones that are really junk, by the way. So a quarter has a big portion of zinc and a big portion of other metals that are worthless. I don't forget what a quarter is mostly made out of. But up until 1964, all quarters, all dimes, sorry, not dimes, all quarters, nickels, and silver dollars and half dollars were actually made of almost all silver, real silver. So basically it was based on the silver amount. So if you actually had a quarter, it was worth a quarter of an ounce of silver. Mm-hmm. If you had $1, it was 1 ounce of silver. But of course, once they got off that silver standard, so to speak, there's no standard, and started making coins with junk metals, they didn't take those coins out of circulation. People are like, oh, wow, I want the silver coins, so they started collecting them. And you still find them. Like sometimes I'll even stop by the laundromat and put a 20 in and get them out. I usually find like maybe one for every $100. But I'll tell you, the casino nearby, about one every 10 coins, I'll get one. Now, dimes are not 1964 or older. You have to go back into the Mercury dimes, which is World War II era.
Yeah,
to
they're
find
really.
silver
I
for
don't
those.
think I think we've only come across like one or two in the last 25 years.
So, Dan, I'm always saying junk silver is great. Get as much as you can. But I would also diversify and go with the 1 ounce silver pieces as well. I would get both. Because if somebody comes up and you're like, hey, I've got 4 quarters here, it's junk silver, here's 1 ounce of silver, some people would be like, oh, no, it's not. Those are quarters. You're not tricking me. But if you actually have 1 ounce of actual silver that's stamped, which could be forgery as far as they know, you're going to find that. So I like to diversify, Dan. I like to have both. I like to have lots of those. I like having GoldBacks. I like collecting anything worth value, especially money. Coins, not the fiat currency monies, but monies as far as metals go.
Okay. Before anything, we have 2 super chats. One from Twin Mama 0184. Appreciate all your knowledge and information you put out. Much love
From West Virginia.
Thank you.
We got a super chat.
Oh, super chat.
Yep.
for
That,
$5.
Oh, it's funny. I had one pop up here. So,
Well, we have another one.
okay, hold on. Before you go again, I need to say it so they can hear. I don't know if they can hear you.
Oh,
on the
okay.
microphone
Oh, that's
sometimes.
true. Okay.
So say it again. We have.
Twin Mama.
Okay, and now you talking is
sorry.
good, Ashley. You keep yelling. Rah. Twin Mama. Go ahead and turn it this way just a little bit, Naomi. Twin Mama 0184. Appreciate your knowledge and information you put out. Thank you very much. Much love from West Virginia. I love West Virginia. Thank you, by the way. Thank you for the comment, and also the super chat. Now I have one up here, Naomi.
Yep, and we have one here.
No, that's the one. Wait.
No, it's a different one. We just got another
This
one.
is Lawrence
Oh.
for $5. Thank you very much, Lawrence. We appreciate it. It says, thank you for all you do. I subscribed this morning. Great.
Yay,
Welcome.
Thank you.
Lawrence, if you haven't done it yet, I would get on our newsletter too.
And then if you haven't done, if you're on Facebook, join the Facebook group
And a
as well.
Facebook group as well.
We have another one.
And then from Carla. Hey, Carla, for $2 super chat. Thank you. Can the president not declare martial law? Oh,
I
the
thought it said
president.
marshmallow.
Excuse me. Oh, the president certainly can declare martial law. Somebody on here will. There's people on here that blow my mind how much knowledge they have. It's something like, you ready? 69 times in American history, martial law has been declared by, not always by the president, by the way. Sometimes it's by governors. But sure, the president can declare martial law. And when that happens, it
68
basically halts habeas corpus.
How many?
68.
68 times. Oh, I was one off. And then basically suspends habeas corpus. You don't have a right to a speedy trial. And now convenes the military to hold courts. But that doesn't give the president authority to halt an election, nor does the military as well. So that's something to think about. But again, if we do see that happen, I'm not saying it won't happen. I'm just simply saying we're going to see a big problem if that does happen.
Can you eat gold and silver?
I've tried. It doesn't work too well. Yeah, so here's what it is. People often say, why keep gold? Why keep silver? You never can eat that. That's true. I recommend you have a wide range of things. I keep some gold and silver, or maybe I don't. I never tell people what I have. I keep things you can barter with. We have like things like liquors and stuff. I keep food stockpiled. People will trade food. Food's always a good trade commodity as well, especially like canned food. It's a fantastic
We have
thing.
2 cans of corned beef hash.
I am all about diversification.
He is.
So let me put it this way. Do I have some gold and silver? Of course I do. Do I have some food? Of course I do. So I don't have this much gold and silver. I would be a rich man. I have this much gold and silver compared to this much food. So I have everything. Not everything. I try to keep up. Queen's Quest said, I didn't get a newsletter.
You didn't get a newsletter?
So, I mean, I'm sure you're saying that you actually put in to get a newsletter, had your email on there. I put out a video this morning right away that said, please check your junk folders, because I did a few tests with some people, including this lady here, to see, and sure enough, I even sent one to myself, and it went to my junk folder.
Yeah, so check your junk.
Check your junk folder, and make sure you put it into your regular folder. I want to make sure you get our messages. But again, we've had a lot of people, by the way, experts in the field, who said they want to contribute to this newsletter. So that is certainly something we're going to be doing. Phil put that up there, by the way, how to subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't done so.
Thank you, Phil.
Phil, way to be a moderator. Good
We're
job.
still looking for you, Cam. We haven't found you yet. I don't know what happened.
I have lots of questions.
Okay.
I see another one here, too.
Oh, you're jumping.
Okay, sorry. I'll hold off on this question. From
She's
the Great
got
Fox.
Behind.
We're behind.
What
it.
happened in Manhattan? People want to know. A few people. They didn't get details.
I didn't see anything happen in Manhattan.
No idea.
Don't yell.
I'm sorry.
You keep yelling.
I'm excited tonight.
Have you considered creating the newsletter in a PDF format for future access?
No, he has not.
No, I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking, is it possible?
You probably could. You could probably copy it all over and make it into PDF.
I probably could copy it. I don't know. Guys, I will tell you that the way it works, I mean, this email thing, the newsletter is not free. I have to pay for this thing. It's a monthly service. I pay to hold the emails and actually hold the...
That way you're not getting spam.
Right. So with this in mind, they have a format thing they put together for this. And I worked... The reason I was late on the newsletter, I was going to put it out last week, is because if you got it, there's a whole bunch of like page breaks in there. I really put a lot of formatting into it. So I was delayed on it. The next one should go out just fine because now the formatting's done. I don't know if they have an option to PDF it.
We can look into it.
I can look into it to archive it.
Oh,
And if that's the case, what I could do is have it so through our web page we can access old emails. Okay. But here's the thing, guys: if you sign up,
Yeah, you can. It doesn't matter.
if you sign up and say, "Oh, I want to be part of this, but I want to get the last newsletter," just send me an email. I can still put your name. If you send me your email with your address, I can still send it to you. Post after the fact.
Although we may not get hit with an EMP exactly, how else do you see the grid being hit?
Okay, that's a great question. So although we may not get hit by an EMP directly, how else could we see the grid going down? Now, I will tell you right now, I believe that is probably going to be the major thing that happens in the United States that's going to cause major problems. I believe our grid's going down. How could it happen? Yes, it could be with an EMP. I've mentioned on this live stream many times, by the way, that I actually don't put EMP as the probable cause of why the grid's going down. One of the big things is, I've been putting out in the past few videos, is a coronal mass ejection. That is one very, very real possibility over between this year and next year, maybe even the year after that, as we're in solar maximum. Very real possibility, by the way. The second thing is through cyber attacks. Now, I want you to understand this. This is not speculation. This is not hyperbole. Our transformers were built in China. If the transformers fry, by the way, a coronal mass ejection, like from the sun, and electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear weapon will both cause these transformers to overload.
Blow.
And then you'll take minimum, and I always say people, oh, it's more like 5 years. That's true, but minimum 3 years to get new ones, and you are not a priority. So picture a CME or an EMP hitting, your house loses power. You're not going to get power back for at least 3 years, probably 5 or more. That's one way, is through some type of electromagnetic pulse, either generated by a nuclear weapon through a coronal mass ejection to the sun. Another way, by the way, is, oh, by the way, in case you didn't know, our transformers are made in China. In case you didn't know, the electronics in those transformers were made in China. And if you didn't know, our Department of Defense actually did a test on some of these transformers and said they are absolutely hackable by the Chinese, and the Chinese very well could simply just shut them down and cause them to blow. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah, it's really scary when you start looking at some of the stuff. They even beyond that, they actually slowed down the assembly line for the transformers, so we don't even have a plethora of transformers if something like that.
Now
happened.
we've already used up most of our backups.
So they screwed us over. Sorry.
Stop yelling. Stop hitting the table. Calm down. No more caffeine for you.
I know. I had 4 cups of coffee.
So anyway, back on that. That is, in my opinion, one of the most catastrophic probabilities I think is coming, because studies have been done over and over again. Some studies say conservatively 75% of the country will die. That's conservative. Most studies say 90% of the population is going to die. Some through not having food, most through violence because they don't have food. That's the scary part. I see other questions too, Neil. I mean, I see another super chat. Are you not over there?
I have a lot.
I have a super chat from Lawrence. Did I say that?
Yeah, you already told him.
Okay, but there's a question underneath that from Bonnie. It says, "Thank you for a wonderful channel." Thank you. GoldBacks. If our power grid goes down, how will we know the correct gold prices for purchasing items? You won't, and that won't matter. Because let me put it this way. Right now, how much is a can of corned beef hash?
Just like $1.85.
$1.85 sounds good. The number doesn't matter.
Okay.
The grid goes down. Walmart no longer has corned beef hash. Okay, or wherever you get it from. Will there still be people out there who want corned beef hash?
Yeah.
What will they trade for it?
I don't
The
know.
price of corned beef hash just went up because now it's a commodity, a hot commodity. Same thing with GoldBacks. Right now, you can get GoldBacks for over $4 a GoldBack. It's getting close to $5, by the way. $5. When the grid goes down, you may have some people say, "Oh, that was worth $5 before the grid went down." But people will use it for trading. Some people who have a lot of extra may take the GoldBacks or will trade it back and forth. The price for corned beef hash, for ammunition, for whiskey, for food is all going to be negotiable at that point because there's going to be new markets for everything at that point. Okay.
Not a prepping question, but my son got food poisoning. I am wondering if there's any recommendations or natural sources for him. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
food poisoning is dreadful.
Awful.
I've actually never had it. Yeah.
Be glad.
I am very reluctant to answer that because if we are talking about just food poisoning, mind you, we're not talking about actually being poisoned per se, even though there's a lot of bacteria in there. You have to be careful because if you try to remedy the food poisoning, it may actually cause poisoning. And so we do have like pharmaceuticals like Zofran. You know, I'm not a big pharmaceutical guy anymore, but I will tell you Zofran injectable,
That stuff is the cake, man. Whew.
it's the cake.
It's the bomb. I don't know what else to say.
Cake.
Uh-oh. Midget's
No, that's
trying.
not midget. It's birds.
Okay. All right. We're actually, before you're going to take off in a few minutes anyways, we'll try our food here in a minute.
Okay.
We need to do that. So I'll pull it up as I talk. So I don't know of any herbal remedies for food poisoning. I wish I did. I'm not an herbal kind of guy. No, I'm a very herbal kind of guy. I just don't. Here, watch it come. I just don't know a whole lot about those. I'm still learning those myself.
Just a minute.
Okay. So real quick, guys. Tonight's video is sponsored by American Reserves. If you've seen this in the past, they have lots of freeze-dried foods. They have, now they actually have Faraday cage products too.
Ooh,
I know,
I
it's
didn't
cool.
know about that. That's
So I'm going to
something
talk to
new.
them and say,
Yeah.
I want some
I wanna
Faraday
see
product.
that.
Okay. So what we've been doing is trying out some of the food. And tonight we're trying out, what are we trying out?
Bananas.
Banana slices. That's a big bag of bananas.
I like banana slices.
Who there loves freeze-dried bananas?
I do.
Cake.
Ooh. Can you see them? They look tasty. Can you see them? Probably not. I don't know.
Oh, come on a
I'm
second.
gonna try 'em.
I'm going to eat this one.
It says don't eat it. Those are really good. Do you like bananas? She's
that?
okay.
Mmm.
They're really good.
That was good.
They're sweet.
So far, I've given a stern thumbs up for freeze-dried strawberries.
Mm-hmm.
I've given a stern
Apples.
3/4 slide up for the apples,
They weren't as sweet as I thought they were.
which is
gonna
good
be.
because of keto.
Yeah.
But the bananas are
They're
back
really
up here
good.
again.
They're really good.
Yeah, those are good. All right, we have one more.
Have
I
you
can't
guys-
have many of these because they're not keto.
Have you guys seen the Civil War movie?
Oh.
Say what?
Have we seen the Civil War movie? I can neither confirm nor deny the ability to watch movies ahead of time on our home
Is it
computer.
the movies? Wait.
But I have not watched it yet.
Oh,
Is that the
no, we
movies?
haven't. We don't go
Is
to
that the
movies very
movies?
often. It's too hard with kids. Okay, I'm being called, so
She's
Night-
being summoned.
I'm being summoned from a child.
I haven't
Good
seen
night.
it yet. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I already have a synopsis of what's happening in the movie, but I have not watched it yet.
Boop.
I'll do a question now. You want to scoot next to me, Amy?
Yep. Oh, I have a lot of questions.
All right, lots of questions, everybody. So we'll dig. I got one now. From the Gray Fox, could I talk a little bit about the importance of oils and fats in our diet? Do you have a plan for long term to have them in your pantry? I would love to talk about that. Okay, so I'll be brief because we have a lot of questions. When we talk about the major foods, they really come down to 4 different things that we can digest: proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and DNA structures. We literally can digest DNA, break it apart, and make our own DNA with it. But that's not really a food group, so we'll take that one off. So proteins, fats, and carbs. The majority of the American diet is carbs. Bad stuff. I mean, it's good stuff, like right here. Bananas, carbs. They have some vitamins and minerals in them too. But the thing is, the problem with this is since it's all carbs, it's all about energy. And unless you're burning off that energy, our body converts it to fat. We don't eat fat. Let's say you have a big can of fat. Chef Boyardee fat. Yeah, look at the spoon. That's disgusting. And you eat it. And it's not going to make you fat, which is amazing. Carbs make you fat. And it's been, over the last 40 years, I think it is, that there have been payoffs to scientists to try to, in the sugar industry, to make it look like sugars are okay. Fats make you fat. And that's why starting in the 80s, we started seeing fat-free everything. Carbs are the evil things. We have to have proteins out of the 21 amino acids. Think of amino acids are like Legos. When you put them together to make proteins, we have 21 different Legos we can use to put it together. 9 of them are essential, or it's 11. A bunch are essential. My brain doesn't work anymore. In other words, it doesn't mean you have to eat them. I mean, it doesn't mean they're essential like you have to have them. You have to have all of them. It means you have to eat them. So we cannot make all the amino acids we need. We have to ingest some of them. With fats and lipids, they are essential as well. We have to have a certain number of fats in our diet and for our brain to work, for our cell metabolism to work. And if you're not getting those fats, we are talking about disease will set in. If you don't have enough proteins, you can actually have disease states set in, such as Kwashiorkor syndrome or marasmus. If you don't have enough fats coming in, it has been clinically proven you will have medical diseases kicking in. If you are suffering in lack of carbs, it's called being healthy because your body can make all the carbs you need. So you have to have oils and fats in your diet. Absolutely have to have them. Now, what do I do to plan to have those in there? I have rice and beans stockpiled, of course I do, but I have lots and lots of meats stockpiled. Chicken, canned chicken's not the most delicious thing. Salmon, tuna, sardines, roast beef, turkey. What am I missing? Lots of meats. I have lots and lots and lots of meats. Canned from our canning, canned from buying cans, and freeze-dried too. So I do that to be able to make sure we have our essential fats and oils that we have to have in our diet. Something came out in our government that tells us that, oh, you shouldn't have lots of fats. That's why there's fat-free milk. It is called an abomination. Fat-free milk is bad stuff. Okay, what else you got?
Okay. What do you think about the MIT study of 1972 that basically said there will be a societal collapse? Oh, wait,
societal collapse by
2040.
Yeah, not only the MIT study, but there's been numerous studies since then, including AI studies that are showing a societal collapse. But you would think, and I read that study, by the way, from the 70s from MIT, that you would think that they would have actually tried to change things by then, but they're definitely saying by 2040. I think they're off. I think it's more like maybe 10 years before that, if not before. That's my thing.
They said the thing in Manhattan, a guy set himself on fire during
really?
a Trump riot?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know about that.
He's in the hospital. Will you be listing local prepper meetups for West Michigan soon in the newsletter?
If I get information about any meetups, they're going in the newsletter. And they'll stay in the newsletter, by the way, until the meetup happens. I put two meetups in there. One is a meetup that's going to take place just south of here. It's a good friend of mine. Joel is hosting that one. And we've gone to some of his stuff before. And then we're going to be doing our summer meetup this summer as well in Clare, Michigan, which we haven't done it for a year or two. So I've already had a lot of people say they're coming to that one. So I'm not sure where or when that's going to be yet, but that's something that's coming. But listen, if I get anything, email, registration form from our website telling me about certain meetups happening places, I'll put it on there. I just ask you, 913 of you right now, you are prepping leaders. You're the ones that really should be trying to set up meetups in your area, putting out flyers at gun stores, flyers at tractor stores, flyers in your library saying we're having a meetup. You don't have to put your name and phone number on it. Same thing with a website or a newsletter. You don't have to give me your name and phone number. Just say we're going to meet on County Road 43 on July 8th, whatever, and I'll put that on there and people can come to your meetup. So you guys are the leaders, guys. Take it upon yourself to start setting up these meetups.
We have 2 super chats. Well, I guess it's super chat / sticker.
So if there's words on it, it's a super chat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so super chat from Arminius Chatty.
Hello.
Chatty. What Geiger counter do you recommend? The ANVDRs2s are above 12. Oh, yes, they are. Those are beautiful units, though. Can you recommend something cheaper? Oh, indeed, I can. So you can actually get either what's called a Geiger counter or a scintillator. I personally don't believe what we have to have as a scintillator. They usually run around $400. I recommend a Geiger counter all the time on this channel. Are you looking for it? Okay.
No, sorry.
I'll try to bring it up and put it up there for you. I am not sponsored by their company, nothing like that at all. But this Geiger counter is fantastic. And for what we need to use for as preppers, it's a fantastic unit. And it usually costs just a little over $100. But with that in mind, sometimes if you wait and it goes on sale, I've seen it for less than $90. And I use this thing all the time, this Geiger counter. I have radioactive material that I test with it. Ready? I'm going to post it real quick.
Never mind, the guy died.
Oh, he died?
Yeah.
That's sad, isn't it? So I don't know. I have to look that up as far as that news goes. I've been really busy doing a lot of stuff today. But anyways, I put the link up for that Geiger counter. That's the one I recommend. It's a fantastic unit. It does a lot of stuff for you. And it's really not going to break the bank like a lot of other stuff.
I have questions.
What else have you been doing me?
I have lots of questions. Okay.
I see one real quick right here.
Oh, yeah, we have another super chat
From
too.
1JW2. I've just recently started watching. May I ask why you wouldn't add biblical prophecy in the prepping channel? It's a great question, by the way. And I'm just going to put it this way, that number one, it's not a Bible channel. It's not a prophecy channel. It is, and by the way, and I think you would agree that when it comes to prophecy, it really is up for debate in a lot of stuff. Would you agree? Because people will say it's this way, other people say it's this way, and I certainly don't want to cause arguments. But the biggest thing is, I respect people's beliefs no matter what they are. Some people don't believe in prophecy at all. Some do. Some people are certain religions. Some people aren't. And I find when it comes to the 2 things you don't talk about, politics and religion, religion is a big one because it's personal to you. And when you find somebody who doesn't have that same belief as you, people get angry. And guess what? We can't focus on prepping anymore.
Yep.
So that's why. I respect people's religions. I love people's beliefs and religions. And I love talking this, by the way. I have a lot of people on this channel right now or watching. I've been in the house and we talk for hours about religion. I love talking about it. But this is about prepping without getting into arguments and confrontation.
We have another...
I dip into politics sometimes, but it's not a politics channel either.
Sorry, we have 2 super chats. One just popped up too.
A super chat from Echo36 over 3949. I always have to say that, by the way. Thank you for the super chat, Echo36. FedEx, UPS, trucking hubs to requisition fuels, foods, and supplies during fallout. Learn locations by intercept package during your next shipment. Yeah, I subscribe to industry newsletters as well to keep up on stuff. And there's a lot of stuff happening right now with FedEx, Amazon, FedEx, UPS, Amazon separately, mind you. Some huge changes coming with those. I'm trying to think of how I want to put it into a video, but Echo36 is correct. There's a lot of things happening there. You need to keep an eye on that stuff. And also, when we talk about lines, especially when it comes to fuel and stuff, they're trying to cramp down more on actual semi-trucks delivering stuff too. And it's going to be big problems with our infrastructure in the United States because of that.
And then we have one from Carl.
Hold on real quick. Hey, Mehalani, how are you? She just said hi. From Carl Mosher for $5. Thank you, Carl. It says, I was always leery of post to meetup until you said how. I think at my post at the local military surplus. Yeah, that's it. I'm leery too. We are, whenever we have a meetup, even though I'll be honest with you, almost every single person I met at the meetup were fantastic people. I think there's only one person that I believe this guy was literally insane. I'm trying to remember. Obviously I won't use his name, but boy, the stuff it wasn't even at the meetup. He didn't cause problems at the meetup, but afterwards he was like almost obsessive, talking with me and really trying to push that this is happening. And I'm not saying things aren't happening, but I find that the majority of the people in this group, we all are the same and this community can work. So like I said, what they're saying is this, guys, it's really simple. You don't have to put information on your flyer. Just put a date and time. You can even make up a name. It's fun. What name do you want?
Millie?
What is it?
Wait, you give me a
just make up
Nilly.
This is Nilly, and I am Bartholomew.
Oh, I want to change mine now.
And so we're going to have a meetup. You don't have to give your real name. You don't have to give your address. You don't have to use your phone number. Just put it up there. You're meeting a certain place. You'll find a lot of people meet up there. And I find a lot of people in these groups all will start to share names with each other, but they're like, oh, we will not share them with people on the outside or give them other stuff. I actually, I get asked to talk at these groups sometimes, which I love doing. And I love videotaping while I'm talking for critiquing or put it up on the channel afterwards. I basically immediately learned, no, there's no videotaping. And then I remember one time I brought the camera and they're like, why do you have a camera in here? I was like, oh, yeah, good point. And they don't want the cameras in there at all.
Oh, we had a super sticker.
That's a super sticker.
Yeah.
From Nanek.
Game
for
over.
$1.99. It says game over.
Thank you.
$1.99. Thank you very much. Yeah, again, it was really, I'll say it again, guys. You guys are super generous. We always appreciate the super chats. It does go into helping us buy equipment and do things for our family too, which we're always like literally having to buy stuff to model on the channel and
the
show
newsletter.
things. And like the newsletter, I had to pay every month for that.
I want to ask this question for sure because they definitely want to answer.
Okay, what's the next question?
What are options for communicating if phone and internet goes down with my in-laws that are about 70 miles away?
Oh boy, yeah, that's gonna be tough. The problem is, okay, simply put, it's ham radios. Ham radios is what you want to go for. Ham radios are not going to have that kind of range, but there are ham repeaters, and a lot of the ham repeaters are done by people, not companies per se. And so therefore, there is a possibility you can literally bounce to get information back and forth from like your in-laws. Ham radios are where it's at. Now, I'm not saying you can't get some pretty powerful ham radio stuff. You can. And the prices are actually reasonable for ham radios. Some people said you should really try to invest like in a shortwave radio, but now you're getting into pricey stuff. Even if you want a shortwave receiver, sometimes we're looking at, just for the unit, $1,000 for a decent one. So like I talk about picking up military frequencies and such, those units picking up military frequencies are super pricey. And so like a lot of the stuff, I don't sell that kind of stuff on the channel. Let's see.
Wait. Someone's timing out people. Wait.
Somebody's tying up people?
No, someone keeps timing out people that aren't doing anything wrong.
Oh.
Someone's name is a religious name, but they're not saying anything religious. I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, I always side with my moderators. I applaud my moderators. I love them on here. But I will say, too, unless they're purposely... Listen, guys, I don't mind somebody greeting each other religion-wise. I really don't care. That's fine. I don't care about that. I just don't like it when people try to commandeer and try to push their religious beliefs. That's a big difference. And whatever religious belief that is, by the way.
I apologize to the two people who were timed out. You did not need to be timed out.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, Dr. W, does minute rice last as long as regular white rice when stored in Mylar bags? Oh, longer. That's a great question, by the way. Instant rice, like minute rice, for example, lasts indefinitely. And it's beautiful stuff. Put it in the Mylar bag with the oxygen absorber, you're good to go. White rice, like long grain white rice, you don't need an oxygen absorber. You can just put an airtight container, it'll be good to go. What happens is, pack it to the max, by the way. Make it so that jar or whatever it is full. And the rice will absorb the oxygen, by the way. And people are like, well, that's bad. Well, no, it only absorbs a little bit and takes it out of the jar. So it'll store itself. It's great. The difference is this, though. If you have long grain white rice, using that when crap hits the fan is more difficult because you have to soak it and you have to put heat into it to prepare it. When we look at minute rice or instant rices, they last just as long. Granted, they're more expensive because they're already processed per se. Obviously, there's no boiling required for those. What we do is, I learned this back in my backpacking days when I used to do a lot of backpacking in the Rockies. You take a container, and let's say you've been hiking and you know what, we're going to be stopping for lunch in a couple hours. You go ahead and take your container, put the rice in there and put water in there and seal it and put it back in your backpack, and it soaks up the water for the couple hours until you finally actually hit your spot for lunch. Then if you want to, you don't even have to heat it, but then you heat it up and you have nice warm rice. But instant rice is perfect for that. Great question, Dr. W.
Oh, no. Someone had a nice comment for you and I lost it. Oh, please tell your dad how much I appreciate his view on religion, that we're here to prep.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
No, thank you too. And it's hard because, again, religion is so emotional for people. Even just making that statement, I don't want to talk about religion and prophecy and such, that makes people mad. But, you know, I understand. It's emotional. It's personal to you. My religion's personal to me. Her religion's personal to her. You're a Rastafarian, aren't you?
Did you say pastafarian?
Pastafarian. A pastafarian.
Yeah, pastafarian. Yeah.
You guys know what is the pasta people who put the...
Yeah, they put the strainers on their head. Oh, the pasta monster. The spaghetti monster.
Yeah. Italian Mimi. Hello, Italian Mimi. What are your thoughts on charcoal sticks for cleaning bottles of water? Is it a scam? Honestly, I'm not familiar with charcoal sticks. I'm going to have to look it up. I assume they're activated charcoal sticks you put in water and it probably absorbs the contaminants. That would work, by the way. That would. But it is just a matter of osmosis. Will it catch all of it? I don't know. I will look at that up. Let me put out my little thing here. And I will check that out for you.
How is it I track every question, yet you still find a question that I don't have on there? Maybe it is on here. I just have so many on here.
Let's see.
Have you ever heard of RAT fighting or rat fighting?
Of a RAT fight?
Yeah.
We do RAT training at our school, but I don't think it's the same one that we do. We don't have fighting wrong with it. It sounds familiar, but honestly, I can't say yes because it doesn't sound familiar enough for me to answer that.
Do you know Barbara O'Neill?
I know the name.
So I guess you probably don't listen to it.
Do we know? Oh, okay, no, I would not know it. Oh, thanks. I see the question that says, tag me for your questions. I'm the knowledge realm. Okay, so here, oh, wow, I am way behind considering I just came across that super chat we mentioned to you a long time ago. So guys, I try to go through here, by the way. I try to go through anything that Naomi has missed, but that's not always possible or plausible.
Yeah, guys, I'm trying my best to keep on track with questions. There are a lot of questions and a lot more comments, and they get lost in there. So if you have a question I haven't answered, you can tag me. This one's an interesting question. I won an album on auction for 22K gold stamp proofs for $13. Is it worth anything?
I won an album, an auction. Oh, I see, a 22 karat gold stamp auction. Unfortunately, when you look at things like that, it actually has more of there's a term for it. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sure you guys remember. No. But it's a term because it's actually worth something to like collectors and investors. But the 22 karat plating on there is going to be not much at all. I would say probably at the most, if you're able to get that metal off of it, maybe a couple bucks. I don't really know how much is on there. I do know they purposely put an incredibly light layer on there for that reason, but it's probably worth maybe a few bucks of gold on there. But it would be better worth now when there's actually somebody who might buy it because of the value as far as being a gold-plated album, which is cool, by the way.
What do you think of the magnetic pole reversal?
Oh, yeah. So I'll be honest with you. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, when I heard about magnetic pole reversal, especially being a scientist, I was like, no, it's not. Come on. But I will tell you now, I am taking it very seriously. The reason being is the magnetic poles are moving right now anyway. They're literally moving. It used to be, I forgot where it was in the Arctic Circle, and now last I checked, it's over Siberia. It's moving, and having a reversal or a collapse is a very real possibility, and it's something we should seriously consider. If I had the time, a shovel, and lots of money, I would dig myself a really deep bunker for that purpose, but I have none of those things. I think I have a shovel, but I don't have the time or the money to do that. So I may end up becoming a crispy person like you do if that does happen, because if it does collapse and we have a fairly decent coronal mass ejection it's going to be a really bad day in the world. And by the way, you don't have to have your country facing the sun when it hits the earth. Not at all. It can literally spread through the atmosphere and cause major problems. I personally don't believe that mankind is going to be hit by an extinction level event. But I have no proof for this. That's just what I believe. And then to talk about just beliefs. I don't think we're going to be destined to have mankind eradicated from the planet. I know a lot of people say that we're just here randomly and that may happen. And I respect everybody's beliefs on that too. But having an extinction level event on the planet is very possible. But I'm not necessarily saying an extinction level event for humans disappearing, but extinction level for definitely some new number of species if that does happen.
Don't mean to keep asking, but do you know why the OTH radar was turned on Thursday night? Do you know those?
I don't.
So no.
I'll research that one too. No, I don't know. There's a lot. I'll tell you, there's a lot of weird stuff happening with the military for sure.
Yes.
And I mean, I want to chalk it up and say it's everything that's happening in the Middle East, but I don't know.
Do you think there's a connection with the flooding in Dubai as well as Southern California and cloud seeding?
Is there a connection there? It very well could be. I believe that when we see, I mean, here's the thing, we have flooding in a lot of places that happen on a regular basis anyway. But I don't know where they're at with the cloud seeding. We know it's happening. This is not, it's so funny because people are like, oh, let's not talk about chemtrails. That's stupid. No, it's, the government has admitted they do it. Even simply just putting the iodized or anodized aluminum in the atmosphere is chemtrails. I mean, you're putting chemicals, aluminum in the atmosphere. And this is flat out proven. This is not speculation or hyperbole. In fact, we have, for the first time ever, layers or actual free aluminum on plants and stuff that's never happened before because aluminum doesn't work that way because they've been spreading it in the atmosphere. So is there a connection with it? There might be. But it's one of those things where we'll probably never know if there truly is or not. But there could be.
Okay. I have more. Do you think a salt mine is a good place to bug out? There is if a volcano is erupting.
Yeah, I do. Salt mines. Salt mines have pretty much been historically used for places for preservation and for possibly bugging out. I would really try to have it set ahead of time because understand you are underground and you do have a constant temperature, but that constant temperature is not warm, by the way. There's a lot of things that basically, a lot of challenges it will pose. But just like if you find a underground shelter, build one, a salt mine will provide that for you. So it's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
I saw a question too.
Which one?
From Sven. Second degree burns, clean and lightly cover. Yeah, that's for sure. Clean you have to be careful with because the second degree burns are going to have blisters. Here's my disclaimer. Go to your doctor, go to your urgent care. I'm not your physician. But
I'll be back.
For my family, if I have a second degree burn, which means there's blisters on there, you do want to clean it up. Sure. Lightly cover with some moist stuff. Sure. Definitely a good thing. But you want to do what you can to not pop those blisters. Because once you pop the blisters, now it introduces or could introduce infection into it. So, yeah, cleaning it. Yes, you want to clean it, but don't pop the blisters.
Hello. Do you prefer bug in or bug out?
Oh, everybody's answer should be bug in. This should always be your first choice and only choice is to bug in unless your life depends on it. If your life depends on it, isn't the whole purpose of prepping to survive? But you're like, no, I'm going to stay in my house even though there's a forest fire out there and my house is about to catch on fire. But no, I'm staying in my house. If you want to stay there and die, that's up to you. There's lots of things that could take place where you may die in your house. I put out a video talking about hordes of people from cities and stuff. That was, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, yesterday's video. And somebody goes, I'm going to stay at my house until my last stand. That's true. It will be your last stand. I thought the whole purpose of this was survival. So have a bug out bag, have a bug out plan, have a bug out strategy, because your house, which is your castle, that should be the place you should stay at no matter what. But then no matter what may end if something catastrophic happens. So yeah, you always need to keep that in mind. Like we live in the middle of nowhere in the forest. It's nothing but trees all around us. Simply gorgeous. I love it. And that is a thought that occurs in my mind that, oh, wow, there may be a forest fire. And you may have the thought of, oh, if there is, then I'll just use my hose to spray it out. Oh, if only that would work. The heat from the forest fires, it's simply incredible, will literally ignite the next trees over, water or not. That water will turn into steam. Your hose anyway, it's not going to do anything. That's even if you have electricity to have water like we'd have a well pump.
Question. If they can suspend the Constitution and declare martial law, how can they even do that since their power comes from the Constitution?
Well, no, that's a good question. What's lined out as far as martial law is actually stated as far as what their powers and everything are. Like, for example, they can suspend the Constitution, declare martial law, but they're still regulated by law. Like, for example, they can't just go around and start offing people, killing people left and right. So even though the Constitution itself is suspended as far as our habeas corpus and the amendments and such, there's still laws in place. Now, I'll say it again. I keep saying this, and I want you to understand. I'm not saying they won't try. They certainly will try. When we looked at the flooding that took place from Katrina, there wasn't even martial law. There was an emergency, and police were confiscating people's firearms left and right. They were taking them from them. Were they allowed to do that? No, but they did it anyway. And afterwards, there's tons of lawsuits because of that. And that's what you have to look at, is if everything survives, you can sue the crap out of them. But that's what our country's founded on. Go ahead and try these things, but I'll sue you after, and you'll be in big trouble because of that. But if we're talking about some major actions, it may be like the last chess piece that moves, there will be no lawsuits afterwards anyways, because it could be complete control. That is something that we do have to seriously consider.
What branch of the military did you serve with?
I was a Navy guy. So let me tell you what I did in the Navy. I joined for patriotic reasons. This is so funny. They know these things. The military is so funny. So when I joined, they said, what do you want to do in the military? I said, number one, intelligence. I'm an intelligence kind of person. That's what I do. And they said, no problem. They said, what's your second choice if you can't get into intelligence? I said, well, I want to go in the nuclear field. And he goes, okay, well, you have to take a special test for that. And I was like, give it to me. And I took the test, and I remember him coming over and saying, oh my gosh, you blew that test away. And next thing I know, I was in the nuclear school. And I was like, wait, I wanted intelligence first. And I think they must have held on to that, because once I was finished with the nuclear school, I just did some regular time as a Navy kind of guy, think of it that way. But then I got pulled into, I have to be careful what I say now. I started doing drug operations in the Caribbean and got a medal for it, and actually got a more advanced role in the drug operations rather than simply just being on a ship. And then with my nuclear background, and obviously they knew about intelligence, I got pulled into a spec ops unit. And my spec ops unit, our primary role, and this is as far as I'll tell you, was for both land and sea inspections, looking for NBCs and preparing for those situations. But that's all I can talk about that. I can't talk about where we went and what we did, all those kind of things after that. But that's basically where we went to from that position after that.
Do you know what this says? The top one.
Can a NGO like WF actually legally take our medical sovereignty from us? They can't take it from us, but they can absolutely have it signed over from somebody who does not have our best interest in mind. So when the WEF wants to come over and initialize certain things in our country, they can't take away our rights. They can force corporations, because that's what it started out, by the way. The WF is all about simply just a corporation conglomerate after World War II to make it so the corporations could work together in peace and unity so there would never be a world war again. That's literally how it all started. That was the purpose of it anyway, when it started in the 70s. I think it was the 70s. They can make it so the corporations, just like we saw during the pandemic, can say, you can't come in here and shop and buy stuff unless you follow these protocols, which may be executive orders, but were not laws. And the corporations were like, we'll back you up. We'll make sure that doesn't happen. But that's the thing, is the government can easily set emergency executive orders to follow along with those plans. And I believe that's what their intentions are. So there's a lot of people who are like, the WF, they're just a bunch of helpless critters, old people who just want to make the world a better place and worry about like commerce and stuff. But if that's the truth, then why do we see corporations teaming up with the governments when it comes to going over what the freedoms are in America? They overstep their boundaries with that. So the WF can't take it, but unfortunately, we're seeing legislators in America giving them the power, and that's where the problem comes in.
Let's take a super chat break. We have 3 of them.
Really?
Yes.
Thank you.
Super stickers.
Super chat? A super sticker? All right.
Well, a few of them.
From Jonathan Goldner for $4.99. Thank you, Jonathan. We
Thank you.
appreciate that. A super sticker. From ATX1, $1.99, said, God help us. OU still sucks. Alex Jones is right.
Thank you.
Yep.
And the third one is.
And then from Michael, I apologize if I mispronounced your name, Michael. Michael Rasica. Yeah, that's probably right. $10 for super sticker with a number 1. Thank you, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, guys, always thank you for super chats. Always thank you for the super stickers. We really appreciate that. But as you notice, we try to answer everybody's questions, not simply just super chat, super stickers.
Hi, everyone just came in. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up. When storing gas and diesel, is it better to use stable or try rotate every month? Ouch.
Oh, I do both. Oh, we do not take any gas in our gas cans in our house without using Sta-Bil. We definitely use the Sta-Bil. But we also rotate as well. So first in, first out. And then on top of that, we also use seafoam to try to keep our engines as clear as possible. But I still end up every summer taking apart the carburetors and cleaning out the jets of all our small engine stuff. It drives me nuts. They sell recreational gas in a town near here, but I'm too cheap and too dumb to buy that sometimes for my small engines.
Do you think there's still time for a very large move and to sell a house?
Oh, there's certainly time to sell a house. Oh, for sure. You put your house up for sale, it's going to sell. The problem is getting a new house. Oh, I mean, if you're talking about just the process of moving into a new home, yeah, I mean, we're talking about the process of a couple months maybe. I think probably. I mean, obviously we don't know for sure. I think probably a couple months. What I tell people, I would be very reluctant to sell my home and then go buy another one. Personally, if I wanted to move, I would go find a new home, buy it, then I would move my stuff and then put this one up for sale. But we wouldn't do that. This is our home. We literally, we traveled around the country for a year looking for the place that we wanted, and here we are. So this is something we're definitely very much like.
What to give to a 1-year-old for thyroid protection for fallout?
Oh, yeah. So thyroid protection from fallout.
For a 1-year-old.
Yeah, 1-year-old. You'll still do the potassium iodide. What we have is the liquid form is all it is. So I don't have the numbers or the charts on me. I have a video, I believe, dedicated just to potassium iodide if you search for it later. But you can just go to Amazon and buy the liquid potassium iodide drops, which it tells you the concentration in there depending on the weight and age. That's what we have. And I keep all my potassium iodide in my Faraday cage, which people laugh at that. But I just do it because, you know what? If we're going to have some kind of major event happen, at least I know where it's at. The Faraday cage doesn't protect it at all. I mean, maybe a little bit. But it doesn't protect it all from electromagnetic pulses or anything.
I got a splinter from the table and everyone's telling me how to remove it. I didn't think anyone noticed. I have a small deep freezer. If an EMP hits, will it? I have enough advance warning to unplug it to save it.
More than likely, if you're going to have an EMP or CME hit and you unplug your freezer,
they have a way to back it up
and move it away from the wall, it stands an excellent chance of not dying. That's a very good chance. The problem is, it's not a 100% chance. So I basically depend on pulling my freezers away from the wall if that does happen. And if it does go down and I don't catch it in time, that's my bad. But we do have freezers, and what's going to happen with us is if we have an EMP or CME, or a CME hits and our freezer goes down, then we're going to empty it out and just finish canning everything in there. So that way it's not going to go to waste. That's what we're going to do. Because a freezer, especially a test freezer, usually lasts a good 4 days after being unplugged and stay pretty well frozen.
Everyone's talking about bunkers. We do not have a bunker, no. But it would be cool to have one.
Yeah.
They were wondering if we believe in them.
We have a backyard.
Do
I believe in them? Oh, yeah.
Can you build a cheap one?
The cheaper you go, yeah, you can build one yourself. There's problems with that, though. Like some people do this, and guys, I strongly can tell you right now. Oh, by the way, real quick, Dell says if a huge CME or nuke hits, turn off your breakers. That'll do nothing. It'll arc right across the breakers. That won't stop it.
Can you add the link where you bought the potassium iodine?
I don't have it on me.
No, sorry.
Yeah, I don't have that link on me. I use a laptop for the live streams. I actually have a desktop computer that does all the work when I make the videos and stuff, so I don't have all that stuff here. The generators won't run after an EMP. They have a chip in them. That's not true at all. They may not work. Because it's like this. Ready? The reason that EMPs and CMEs are so problematic is the current that travels down those miles and miles and miles of power lines. That's where the problem comes in. So the current comes down the power lines into your home. Turn off your breaker. It'll jump across your breaker. It's too much. It'll jump from the power line on your home to the home and catch your home on fire. Keep that in mind. Oh. So turning off a breaker is not going to stop it. And then it's going to travel through all the outlets to anything that's plugged in. So this laptop I'm using right here, I don't know if you can see it on the screen, is plugged in. It's gonna get fried. There's microchips in my laptop. But if I have my phone, and my phone's sitting here on the table, it's not plugged in, will I have some random ions hitting this phone from an EMP? Of course I will. But it's not even close enough to typically fry those chips in it. So anything that's not plugged into the grid stands an excellent chance of surviving. Anything that is plugged in the grid, pretty much guaranteed, is going to fry. So keep that in mind. People talk about all the time that when an EMP or CME hits, everything's going to get fried and go down. All the cars will stop running. That's not true at all. You will have airplanes crashing from the sky, FYI. But there's a good chance that not all of them will. Your car will stall out. Modern brand new cars, but 95% of them will start back up again. This is proven. And when people talk about everything just crashes and dies, that's not true at all. Anything plugged into the grid will. Goodbye stuff. But surge protectors won't stop it either, by the way. Are we allowed to fly drones? This is a super chat, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Icon, super chat. It's Shiny Man.
I had it.
I love certain names like that. I just love Shiny Man. We're 49. Thank you very much. Are we allowed to fly our drones within the city limits? It depends on your city, and it depends on, obviously, the laws in the city. Nevertheless, there is a 200-foot ceiling with drones. You can't go above that. Some cities have ordinances that allow drones. Some do not. And then, any time flying your drone, by the way, and this is FAA regulations, you're still liable. So even if you have a plane that's flying below 200 feet, which they're not allowed to do, and your drone's flying and that plane hits the drone, you now caused, or at least were part of, an aviation accident. You could be held responsible for that. But some cities allow drone flying. Most cities allow it only with a permit. So that way, if somebody has a little toy drone, you're not going to have somebody stop you for that. But if you really start taking your drone down the streets and stuff, you could be, depending on the city ordinance, basically be charged with that.
We have 2 more super chats.
What's that?
Apocalypse Survivor.
Really? How do I find these on here? That's crazy.
They show them at the top. If
Okay.
you click the top chat button.
I've tried that, and my computer's different.
Oh.
Don't judge my computer.
No, it's the same thing.
Okay, Apocalypse Survivor, $5. That's great. What skill trade do you think would be the best to get into a place in a government bunker?
Ooh.
Yeah,
well,
that's a great
if we're
question.
going on Greenland, contract. Wait, what is he? You contractor?
Yeah.
Yeah, contractor.
I will tell you that, first off, you have to be not just having a trade or a skill, but you have to be typically one of the top people in your field for those situations to be on that list. The top of the top, with honor, sir. Right? Men in Black. What would be the best skilled trade to make that happen? They're going to have skilled trades for anything, basically, to reduce stuff. But I think engineers is probably one of the biggest ones.
Yeah.
But I'm speculating on that. I don't know.
What about like farming?
Yeah, farming's a possibility too.
Um.
So that's why you make your own place to go into, and that way
Yeah.
you're automatically accepted.
I didn't know those World War II bunkers were called Anderson bunkers.
Andersons.
Yeah.
I don't, honestly, I could be wrong. I didn't think all of them were called Andersons.
I don't know. I looked it up.
I thought an Anderson bunker was a type of bunker
Here.
in World War II.
Someone was talking about them.
I thought they were. Yeah, right. They are. They're the ones that are basically above ground like that. If you're okay.
I
Anyways,
just meant like the World War II.
if you're looking at an underground bunker, guys, I'm not even talking about cave-ins. I want you to understand that if you're making a bunker underground because of like fallout, a fallout bunker, I need you to think about this. Radiation travels right through cement. It travels right through dirt. And so if you make a bunker that's literally, you dig a hole, put a couple chairs down there, put a couple boards across, and put like this much dirt on top, and now you're standing up in your bunker, and here's the boards, and here's the dirt, and here's the fallout, you're going to die. That radiation is going to go right through that dirt, right through those boards, right into your head. And so by being in a bunker, it gives you that false sense of security from fallout, saying, oh, I don't see it. It's way above that dirt up there. It travels right through dirt. Radiation, you need 1.3 feet of lead. 1.3 feet of lead. Lead, the best substance to stop radiation, practically speaking, to stop the radiation effectively. Dirt, you need feet of dirt. So now if you're talking about building a bunker for fallout, you need feet of dirt. You have drastically just increased your chances of a collapse if you're building one on your own. So somebody's talking about doing your own bunker. That's where the problems come in with a bunker.
Yeah.
If you're just doing a bunker to hide from people, go for it. Have a good time. Still be careful of collapses, you know what I'm saying? But from fallout, forget it. I know a guy, I can't release his name. He had this, I think it cost him like $300,000 and put a bunker in. It was legit. It was like, I'm not kidding you, it was like 10 feet below the ground. That's the ceiling was 10 feet below. He had everything in there. I was like, you, my friend, I am very jealous of what you have. No.
Oh.
She tried to guess who it was. No, it wasn't this person.
We have another super chat.
Okay, it might be this one right here. From Christy?
Yeah. It's weird.
From Christy Yetzi for $5. A 5 with a balloon and a heart. Love from Southern Kansas. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. You're welcome, Christy. And I love Southern Kansas. I love Kansas. And Christy, you know what I'm talking about. You have those days where the breeze just comes through, the winds come across the plains. Oh, it's a fantastic feeling, isn't it, Christy? All right, let's see.
My son is a type 1 diabetic and worried about shortages of insulin.
Mm-hmm.
Any tips or alternatives?
That's a very real concern.
Yeah, they're in the UK and it's really strict there.
Yeah, it's a very real concern. All right, yeah, it's strict here too. The problems are whenever you have any type of diabetes, and I'll tell you guys, you need to check with your doctors. I'm not your physician. But the only possible way of that happening if you run out of insulin is allow your body to create its own sugar naturally, its own glucose, without taking it in. So let me put it this way. If you have no glucose, you have no insulin at all, which of course, even if you take the glucose, you have the insulin, you're in big trouble. You need to stay away from glycemic foods. The higher the glycemic food, like potatoes, the worse it is for you. Go with the lowest glycemic food you could ever have, like a steak. The best thing you could ever eat. Delicious too. You eat the steak, it allows the body to produce its own glucose, very low amounts over a spread amount of time, and that's the best way to try to overcome any type of diabetic emergencies in crap hits the fan situations. I really want to stress that, guys, because I'm not your physician. Not crap hits the fan, you need to stay on your insulin regimen, but that's your best bet to try to overcome this.
Someone mentioned Kitty. Do you have any alternatives for potassium iodide if you have a shellfish allergy? What does that have to do with shellfish allergy?
Yeah, there's actually, that's where they get a lot of the potassium iodide.
Okay, I was like, was that?
There are vegan potassium iodides. I wish I could tell you which ones they are right now. That's what I would do. Look up vegan potassium iodide. And by the way, I apologize. I saw the question. I didn't answer it. But somebody asked, what happens if you have an iodine allergy? If you truly have an anaphylactic allergy to iodine, you can't take potassium iodide. All the potassium iodide does anyway, by the way, is decreases your potential for thyroid cancer. Out of the numerous radioactive nuclear isotopes from a nuclear weapon, that's only one. There's still upwards of 300, maybe over 300 if I remember my numbers correctly, that you still have to worry about. It's only that thyroid cancer for potassium iodide, that's all it protects. Just that one thing. And that's why if you're over 40, by the way, the government recommends you don't even take potassium iodide.
Okay. If enamel-coated iron cookware is chipped.
Is it safe to continue using? If enamel-coated iron cookware is chipped, I would assume so, because any type of cast iron cookware that doesn't have the enamel on there, I mean, you don't want to ingest the enamels, but I don't think the enamels are toxic. For me and my family, anyway, by the way, we don't ever use any enamels or coatings on any of our cookware anyway. I know the enamel, when you look at ceramics and enamel stuff, it is really ceramics. It's not going to hurt you per se. It's not toxic. But when you look at any type of other coatings on stuff, we don't touch it because there's so many harmful chemicals they put in those things.
I like this question. We need to answer it.
I'm ready.
If burying food/supplies and there's a forest fire coming your way, how deep should the stuff go to keep it safe from massive heat?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't have the data from the fire department or the wilderness firefighters of how hot the ground gets. I would guess if you're burying it enough to stay away below the frost line, it's probably going to be enough to shield it from the fire also. But I will tell you, I don't know, guys. That's my best guess.
What's the difference between a ham radio and a CB radio?
Oh, ham radio, CB radio. First off, a CB radio is preset for specific channels. They're literally what are called family channels. I mean, I'm not saying CB radios are necessarily family, but they're actually preset channels by the FCC to make it so you don't have to have a license for them. Ham radios go well beyond that frequency, and you can program it to what channels you want. And for not all of them, but most of those channels, you can actually talk on them too. Like, depending on what your ham radio works, there's only some that do this, not all of them. A CB radio, the police don't use that frequency. But if you got a scanner at home, you could program the frequency to listen to the police. You know, some places use scrambled radio frequencies for police now, but not all of them. And so if you pick up that police frequency on your scanner, you're like, oh, I can hear them. Hello, but they can't hear you. Some ham radios make it so you can program that frequency and actually talk to the police, which is not allowed even if you have a license for a ham radio, because you don't have a license to talk on their channels. So that's basically the overall thing. CB radios and walkie-talkies, think of those as the same thing. CB radios are much more powerful than a walkie-talkie, and then ham radios typically are much more powerful than CBs, but not always. You can actually get very powerful CBs too.
There was a question about a freeze dryer. How much is a good freeze dryer without overspending for like home use for prepping stuff?
Yeah, if you're trying to get a freeze dryer and you're worried about overspending, I don't know. I don't know of any freeze dryer that doesn't cost a lot. You're looking at $3,000 to $4,000 just for the unit, not including possibly more oil for it and such later. Here's what I tell people, by the way, because we have a harvest right. We love it. But I tell people this: if you're a hardcore prepper and you're constantly preserving food, you want to freeze dry food, but you're canning food, and you're always doing stuff most part of the day, the freeze dryer is probably for you. If you only have so much money, you could put that money into getting canning jars, which is much more inexpensive and just as effective, or buying canned food. I personally would skip the freeze dryer. And again, Harvest Right sponsored us with a freeze dryer, but I'm going to tell you the truth. If you're a hardcore prepper, a freeze dryer is probably one of your best things. But if you're not, that money, that $3,000 or $4,000 could easily be spent into other means, or even just buying canned food. We're only going to go a little bit longer, guys. I know there's a lot of questions, guys, but my brain's getting
Actually, we're doing really well. I think we're like getting rid of a lot of them. Do you think you should stop canned food completely, or should people have space to try to garden?
I think people should always try to garden. I will tell you that I believe no matter what prepping you do, you should really strive for diversity.
Yeah, because I mean the food's gonna only last you so long, so you need to get the garden in.
Right. So here's the thing. You ready? Have animals. Not just chickens, by the way. Have goats, possibly cow if you can do it. Garden. We have an orchard. We forage from our forest. We dehydrate. We freeze dry. We can. We also buy things like bags of rice and bags of beans and canned food and lots of other stuff too. We try to diversify in every possible way to bring stuff to our house. That's what we do, including gardening. We have 2 gardens. We have a garden that's close to the house. It's about 1,200 square feet. Then we have another 1/4 acre garden further out, kind of like into our forest, which we're actually redoing that whole one now as we speak. Looking up weird stuff, Naomi?
Yeah, I'm looking at someone's channel. What about Gates building solar on the land he bought via farmland? What? Oh, yeah, he bought some farmland and built solar on it.
Yeah, I know we looked at some of the Bill Gates stuff he bought before.
Who knows what Bill Gates is doing?
Yeah, I don't trust that Kermit the Frog looking dude more than I could throw him. And I bet I could,
Kermit the Frog.
I bet I could throw. Yeah, I know exactly. I'm not going to make more jokes than that. But anyways, I'm not sure what else he's planning now. He owns a ridiculous amount of farmland, which it's not simply just because he likes corn on the cob. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I think because he likes genetically changing corn on the cob.
He's like, yes. Do you see any of these you want to add? Or do you want me to just ask?
Do you feel like rioting and protesting will be getting worse to the point of martial law becoming a reality, especially in the big cities? Emphatically, yes, I do. Is it going to happen before the election or after? That's the real question. I don't have an answer for you. But I do believe it is going to happen.
We got a super chat.
Super chat. Carla says, for $2, compare a shortwave radios to others, please. Carla, I would love to answer that for you. I have a video that I'm working on that's going to compare different shortwave radios. Because since I put out the frequencies for the military, I've had a lot of people asking about these. There's so many different ones to look at and choose from. In fact, I'm actually trying to work on videos about what ham radios to have. More specifically, do you want to step up and actually have like an ammo box radio? I'm possibly looking at getting one of those, or modeling that, I should say. And then also some different types of shortwave receivers you might want to get. I will tell you, unless you are thoroughly trying to look into what the military does as far as their emergency action messages and stuff, I wouldn't even consider getting one of those shortwave radios. They're super expensive, and it requires you to know how to set up the antenna for it. Antennas, I love antenna, understanding how the frequencies work and the wavelengths and the length of the antenna. It's cool stuff. But I want you to understand that even if you can listen to the military channels, what you hear on those military channels is severely limited, because you can hear the messages going through. You can listen to the different types of operations. Maybe it's nuclear, maybe it's not. But you don't know what they're saying. You never will. All you know is the amount of messages going through. It's fun to listen to, but it's almost like listening to Morse code, because you're like, wow, there's another message going through, but you don't know what that message is. So I highly recommend that people don't get one of the really big receivers for shortwave to listen to the military channels. It's unless you're listening to it all the time and that's what you do. Like, I have a lot of friends, this is what they do. It's almost kind of not worth the money. We're talking about, you're starting out well over $1,000 just starting out for one of those units.
I enjoyed your first newsletter from today. Where can I find your nuclear series on your YouTube channel?
Oh, that's a great question.
Good question.
I can probably try to link it for you. But if you simply just go to my channel and type in like nuclear prepping, that'll probably work. I can check that right now. Nuclear prepping. Oh, you know what? That's
this
actually
is an interesting question.
That's YouTube. That's not my channel. It's on there. I really put a lot of pride in my nuclear prepping series. It's really good stuff. Yeah, so if you just go to my channel and type in nuclear prepping, it starts off with thermal radiation, which if you're actually caught close to the nuclear weapon in the first place, that's what you have to deal with. Then goes out from there and talks about all kinds of stuff. I'm going to put the link for the first video right there on the thing. How would you need to do the soil after a fallout to regrow? Yeah, there's a lot of talk about having to scrape off a certain layer. A lot of the actual radionucleotides will be washed off, or their half-life will make them deplete over time. I will tell you this, though, there will be some that will not deplete for a couple thousand years at least. So that with those, you have to understand the higher the radiation goes, the more it gives off, the faster it depletes. Think about it that way. So if you have something that's going to be a few thousand years, it's not putting out a lot of radiation. That's the point. It's basically decaying very slowly. Just one kind of idea of basically how that works. Yeah, so my best idea for anybody is, instead of actually just trying to go for a certain distance down in your soil, I would get a Geiger counter. Scrape off a certain amount of soil. Your Geiger counter will tell you if it's releasing radiation still.
Aw, thank you, Brooke. As a pilot, my fear is being on the road when stuff hits the fan.
Yeah.
What will be your best advice? So
As a pilot?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. Listen, that's it. We talked about last time, I'm a contender for world champion for my category for martial arts. My instructor Of course, everybody has an instructor. My instructor, I was like, yeah, I know our tournament's coming up in July in Phoenix, but I'm not going. And he's like, what? You can't be a contender for a world champion and not go. And I'm like, yeah, just watch me. But that's the whole thing is right in the middle of summer in an election year with higher increases of CMEs that far away from my home scares the daylights out of me. Yeah, so as a pilot, that's a very real possibility. That's a very real thing you may want to consider. I'm not sure what to tell you because that's your career, you know what I'm saying? And I'm very jealous, by the way. I love to fly. I used to fly private planes, but because I got a brain injury and seizures, I can never fly again. And I'm very jealous about that.
I thought he was talking about the actual road, and I was like, I mean, you could drive home, but I was like, oh, I see what you mean. I have an interesting question. People were talking about, do you think it's better, like, will you get more meat from a cow or a pig? Probably cow.
Oh, yeah, they're great questions. You'll get far more meat from a cow, obviously, but the cow is very limited what it can eat. A pig will eat anything and produce pig meat for you. So think of it that way. So, I mean, it'll produce more meat, but it's all you want. I know like rabbits too. Somebody asked about rabbits. Rabbits, they mate like rabbits. You know, so they really do produce a lot of offspring. So if you're a rabbit eater.
Versus chickens.
Yeah, like versus chickens. Chickens can lay eggs. I like that too. So I get eggs and chicken. And they do produce babies too if you can get a broody hen. But rabbits mate like rabbits. They really produce a lot. So I know a lot of people who really do a lot of rabbits. A lot of people like guineas as well. Not guineas. Guineas?
Peacocks?
No. My brain is becoming fried, guys.
Ooh, what does peacock taste like?
I don't know.
Do you see any
No,
more
it's not
questions?
a guinea. What's the other?
A quail?
Quail. Thank you, Naomi. Yeah, so a lot of people go into quail now. And the quail produce a lot of eggs. They're like a quarter size of a chicken egg, but they produce a lot of them. And they're much more hardy and resistant to temperature changes. Maybe not. I could be making that up. My brain's getting fried.
Well, I want a quail now. That sounds cute.
Do we have more questions? I'd like
Do you see any questions from this list you want?
Will the government not quit until they abolish the Second Amendment? I believe that's their goal. And they won't simply come right out and do it. But what they do is they make it more and more difficult, more and more difficult, more and more difficult. It's the frog in the water, you know, hoping that people won't kind of resist. Do you have any opinion of the burner launcher? I do. I would love to get one. I've considered seeing about if they want to sponsor me. I think it's fantastic because it does a lot of things that, of course, a firearm, I wouldn't say won't do. A firearm will take care of action. But it does change a lot of things as far as like the laws go. A lot of places will let you have the burner launcher since it is simply just compressed air.
Guinea pigs. They eat
Guinea pigs, really? How did I get you guinea pig?
Well, I'm sure you do.
Huh. How do you convince your skeptical family to start prepping? I would simply just tell them to look around and say, look, don't make a big deal out of it. And even like you can kind of like say, don't be like those crazy preppers, even though we are those crazy preppers. Just say, look, start off with, guys, just put stuff put away for a week. You know, we lose power for a week sometimes. Start off there. Then try to coax them up from there.
Yeah, just a can or two at the store and then bam.
What's the next question? Will the beautiful, beautiful Geiger counter I recommend operate in the radiation levels expected in a nuke war? Indeed, they will. Here's where it comes. If you're looking at a scintillator, here's the problem with this. There is another channel, which I will not name. He had a specialist on there who called himself a specialist, who worked with radon and stuff for mines or something like that. And he designed a scintillator, which these are fantastic machines. I'm not saying they're not. The difference is the Geiger counter I recommend is $100. The one they recommended, it was pretty amazing on that channel. It was like $450, and I went to take a screenshot and closed it out. And I said, "Oh, I forgot a screenshot." I reopened it back up again, and within that matter of like 30 seconds, it was up to $650. And because the video just went out, I was like, "I see how it is." Then the next day, it was back down to $450 again. A scintillator will actually register higher radiation levels without overloading the machine. It's that simple. But we're not in that environment where you're going to be out foraging for food and you need those higher radiation levels. If you have your Geiger counter I recommend and it starts going off and overloading, you're in a bad area. It's time to get out of it. It's that simple. And so if you're in your basement and you're like over by a wall, of course you're by a wall, there's radiation on the other side of that thin cement. I mean, the cement may be this thick, but it's still thin compared to radiation. And it's like, oh, it overloaded. Oh, I need to move to a different location. So you turn it off, reboot it, go to the center of it, And oh yeah, now it's much better. Oh wow, an animal just hit the camera.
That was the cat. They're playing with.
And so he tried to, in that video, which again, I'm not going to trash that channel. He tried to make it look like, well, I've been in radiation areas smaller than that the Geiger counter would basically start doing. Oh, that's true. But not for a long time. You didn't mention that part, did you, Slick? He wants to make it look like that, oh, I was in there for a long time. No, you weren't. You can go to almost any radiation area, get in and out. You ready? You could run out and fall out real quick and come back in again, and there's a chance you'll survive, a good chance. It's time in those areas, and even though the unit I recommend will overload for a relatively lower dose of radiation, it does what it's purpose to do. Will tell you if your fuel's radioactive, but it'll also tell you if it's going off and it's overloading, get out of the area you're in now because you're getting too much radiation. In other words, you know what? This is not about running looking for Petey's pet dog out in the fallout. That's not what it's for. It'll overload and fall out. That's not the point. Get out of the fallout and get into a safe area.
Yeah. I want to say this comment. Ban Everything says, I bought some peepees to hunt rabbits, and then I made friends with a bunny, and now I'm too scared.
Isn't that sad? I know. Yeah, chickens too. Our kids have a lot of the chickens named. It's like, don't name the chickens.
Yeah.
I mean, we have not done meat birds in a couple of years. We'll sometimes go through and just do meat birds and can the meat and stuff. But we have a nice chicken run we just put together, but they die. I guess that's what's important, though. The kids need to realize that animals die. From Carla for $5 again. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you.
Will you get more meat from rabbits than your Wilcox or pigs in the short run? In the short run, yes, that's exactly it. You certainly will. From Zerabits.
We have 2 questions on the list.
Okay. I assume you've heard about Ukraine. Yeah. Oh, no. The Ukraine aid package was approved. Do you think this will change the outcome of the war? I don't. I hate to say this, I don't think Ukraine stands a chance. I think it's just a matter of time. That's what I think. And I don't say that with any glee by any means. I hate war. And I'm not talking about Ukraine for their politics. I'm talking about the people of Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? What's the last question? For preparation, how do you get medicine from Jace Medical if you actually have no symptoms? What it is for Jace Medical is they have physicians themselves. So you go through and answer all the questions, and that physician signs off and gives you the prescription. Then Jace fills the prescriptions and sends it to you. It costs money. It's pretty pricey. But if you have no other way of getting antibiotics and stuff, and that's all you have, then go for it. You have another question?
No, someone said it took them a whole year to get another bunch of baby rabbits, and then the mother ate. Oh,
no. Well, if the mother ate them, that may be the reason why they weren't producing more babies in the first place. Oh. Because if they're not in a happy environment, which I'm not sure why they wouldn't. I'm not judging you by any means. They're not going to produce babies, and then they'll eat them.
Even with low radiation, isn't it also how much radiation throughout one's entire life?
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, it is your entire life, but we look at it for a year. We look at how much radiation you can absorb per year and be safe. And so, yeah, so the guy in that video with the scintillator was trying to make it look like, oh, if you need to go outside in the fallout, this will tell you how long. I'm just telling people, get out of the fallout as fast as you can.
Yeah.
And try to find your safe place in your basement, for example, or in your house, and that's where my Geiger counter will work.
Yeah, I mean, it's better, the first thing they teach you in survival is to get out of the situation first before you need to put your survival skills to the test.
Exactly. Very good, Naomi. That's my daughter right there.
Yeah.
I see one right here from Army Vet Autism Mama.
That's the one I have.
Okay, good. I'll make this the last question, guys, because I'm starting to fry. If you are off-grid, I think you are, and that makes me excited, will appliances be safe hooked up to solar during EMP? Well, again, I always say this. There's no guarantee. You could actually take an electric range that has digital products to it, take it out in the middle of a field, and EMP hits, and it could still fry. But the odds are slim. It's small, but it could. So hooked up to your solar panels, it's not the panels you have to worry about. It's the wiring from the panels going to your appliances. So being hooked up to your solar does increase the chances of it frying. There's an actually increased chance that your inverter will fry. There's an increased chance, obviously, your charge controller will fry. All those things you need to look at. In fact, some solar panels have voltage diodes to make sure the current only goes in one direction. There's always a chance that they could fry in a solar panel, even though it's a pretty slim chance. All that's a possibility. So it's just a matter of rolling the dice. If I'm off grid, let me put it this way. If I'm off grid and I have solar panels hooking up to my appliances, if I heard anything happening, I would try to unplug the stuff from the panels as fast as possible. But I personally would probably not stress over it too much and put preps in our areas. If you actually have the money to get some kind of an EMP shield, I would do that. But honestly, I would not, for me and my family, I would not make that a priority.
Can we actually answer this one? Child protectors on plugs will still arch EMPs?
Yep. Child protectors and plugs will still arc the EMPs. Exactly right. They could. And there's always all possibilities. Because I want to stress it to you that during the EMPs, kernel mass ejections, the current down those wires are looking for ground. And anything that close to ground may be a device in your house. It may be the wire coming to your house. It'll arc across to your house and catch your house on fire. If this happens, guys, your device is catching on fire may be in problem anyways because your house may burn down. There's going to be a lot of houses burning down on that day.
Yes.
Just FYI.
I think that's...
All right. I am purposely... Oh, last question. George Smith, will Russia stop Ukraine? No, I don't think they will. I've seen too much intelligence that there's an excellent chance that they're going to go into Poland, Lithuania, not as an all-out invasion, but try to link up their lands there. There's troops amassing on the borders right now. Right now they are. So that is a very real possibility. Okay, guys. My brain's going to go fall on a pillow and just fall dead for a little bit.
Yep.
I appreciate you guys being here. Excellent. I will tell you real quick if we're going to be live next week. I believe we are.
Join our newsletter.
Join our newsletter.
Yeah.
Exactly.
We have cool stuff on it.
Yeah, it looks like Kim's not being seen on the channel for some reason. I'm not sure why.
And if you join the newsletter and you have not received it yet, check your spam email.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hello, cat.
Yes, we'll be live next week.
Yeah, because it's Sunday.
Yeah. Okay, we'll be live next week too.
Today's Sunday? Yeah, today's Sunday.
All right, guys, thanks for coming in. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter, subscribe to the channel, give us a like if you haven't done that, guys. That really helps our channel out, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, everybody, for the questions. Big thank you, everybody, for the super chat, super stickers. We appreciate all of you. And we'll see you tomorrow. Same bat time, bat station for our regular videos. Oh, say hi to the kitty.
Blue says bye.
Okay, bye, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye. Goodbye.